This is the weekly sales meeting for January 4th, 2026. My name is Chris Fleming. You can reach me at chris@cdmediaconsulting.com or go to our website at cdmediaconsulting.com. Today's topic, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. In the mid-1980s, music producer Rick Rubin did something that seemed impossible. He worked with two different bands of two different genres at the same time. There were the Beastie Boys, the wild hip-hop group from New York, and there was the iconic Slayer, a loud and aggressive heavy metal band. Even more surprising, he recorded both of their albums simultaneously in the same New York studio. On one side of the hall, the Beastie Boys were making License to Ill. This became the first rap album to hit #1 on the Billboard charts. On the other side, Slayer was recording Rain in Blood, one of the fastest, most intense metal albums ever made. These two bands were nothing alike, but under Rick Rubin's direction, their music ended up changing the world. Rick Rubin wasn't afraid to mix different styles. In fact, he loved it. He believed that good music didn't need to stay in a box. That is why he started Def Jam Recordings from his dorm room at NYU. Rubin had already worked with hip-hop legends like Run DMC, but he also loved rock and heavy metal. To him, the raw energy of Slayer and the bold attitude of the Beastie Boys weren't that different. They both wanted to break the rules, be loud, and do something new. Rubin saw that connection and used it to bring the two groups into the same creative space. Slayer's music was full of fast guitar riffs, dark lyrics, and pounding drums. Meanwhile, the Beastie Boys were cracking jokes. They were sampling rock records. They were rapping about everything from girls to partying. But instead of clashing, the two bands seemed to feed off each other's energy. According to Dave Lombardo, Slayer's drummer, the energy transferred. He said hearing hip-hop beats in the next room actually inspired some of my rhythm work. The Beastie Boys, in turn, liked how Slayer didn't care about being too loud or too extreme. It made them feel like they could be themselves, too. This mix of hip-hop and metal wasn't only a strange moment in music history, it helped shape the future. It was a precursor to another collaboration. Rick would bring together rap and rock again when he paired Run DMC with Aerosmith's Walk This Way. As music evolved, bands like Rage Against the Machine and Linkin Park would blend those styles even more. It all started with this wild experiment in a New York studio, one where two very different bands found common ground. What made it work? Passion. Slayer and the Beastie Boys were full of energy, confidence, and a love for doing things their way. And Rick Rubin, the man in the middle, had the vision to see those styles didn't have to stay apart. He helped prove that when you take risks and mix things up, you can create something completely new. It was not only new, but unforgettable. When making License to Ill, Rick had another bold idea. It's one that showed how fearless he was when it came to blending genres. He asked Slayer guitarist Kerry King to play a guitar solo on No Sleep Till Brooklyn. At first, it sounded crazy. Kerry was known for his fast, aggressive guitar playing, not for working on rap records, but Rubin saw what others didn't. He believed the raw power of Kerry's guitar could bring a new kind of energy to the Beastie Boys' music. Kerry King was equally surprised by the request. He didn't know much about hip-hop and wasn't sure he would fit in, but he trusted Rick Rubin, so Kerry agreed to try it. When he showed up to the studio, he wasn't sure what to expect. The Beastie Boys were wild, funny, and full of personality. Their music didn't sound anything like Slayer, but once they started working together, something clicked. No Sleep Till Brooklyn was already a party anthem. It was full of loud beats and over-the-top rhymes. Kerry added a screaming guitar solo that gave the song an edge no other rap song had had at the time. Rubin even had Kerry appear in the music video. If you recall, he was playing his guitar in a wrestling ring while the Beastie Boys performed. It was loud, ridiculous, and perfect. The mix of metal and rap was something people hadn't heard before. It made the song stand out. Even though Slayer and the Beastie Boys came from different worlds, they both had the same do-it-your-own-way spirit. Kerry didn't try to change his style for the song. He played like he always did, and that's what made it work. The Beastie Boys weren't trying to be metal, and Kerry King wasn't trying to rap. But together, with Rick Rubin leading the way, they made something brand new, but it felt like it belonged together. That guitar solo became one of the most memorable parts of No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Rubin's decision to bring Kerry King into the song wasn't only about adding a cool sound, it was about tearing down walls between genres. It showed that great music could come from anywhere as long as it was real. This moment was another example of how Rick Rubin changed music by trusting his instincts, and that trust brought a bold idea to life. So what can a master producer teach us about selling? One of those lessons is to make room for the unexpected. Challenge the status quo when necessary. Just because we did something one way before doesn't mean that has to continue on the same path. If you continue doing it the same way you've always done it, the result won't change much, but people's tastes will. To continue to move the needle, break free of what was to make what is and what will be. Sounds cliche, but nothing great was ever made of bad copy. Rick Rubin saw the overlap between hip-hop and heavy metal, two genres that on the surface have nothing in common. In sales, the best sellers are the ones who can spot the connections others can't. Maybe a product that's built for healthcare could work in education. Maybe two industries that seem to be worlds apart have similar pain points. Look beyond the obvious and find the hidden links. Bringing Kerry King into a hip-hop track was unheard of at the time, but it worked because Rubin wasn't afraid to experiment. In sales, don't be afraid to try new approaches. Mix your messaging styles. Try and test different outreach sequences. Combine strategies from different industries. Playing it safe won't set you apart. Rick Rubin didn't try to make Slayer sound like the Beastie Boys or vice versa. He let each artist be true to who they were. In sales, this means listening to your client. It means tailoring your solution around their unique strengths. It is not about forcing them into a one-size-fits-all box. Understand what makes them different and build around that. Rubin is famous for making decisions based on vibe rather than technical skills or data. While metrics matter in sales, there is still room for gut instinct. If a deal feels right or a client is leaning in, don't overthink it. Lean into that energy. Sometimes the vibe tells you more than the spreadsheet. The Beastie Boys didn't only make a hit record, they made a statement by putting Slayer's guitarist on a rap record. That kind of move creates buzz. In sales, bold positioning or an unexpected campaign can break through the noise. Be willing to stand out even if it is risky. Safe rarely gets remembered. Rubin doesn't write the music. He creates a space where great music can happen. In sales, if you're a leader, your job isn't to micromanage. It is to set the tone, provide clarity, and support the team's strengths. Great producers and great sales managers build trust, not pressure. Rubin's career spans hip-hop, metal, country, and more. He is not loyal to a genre, he is loyal to quality. In sales, don't box yourself into one vertical. The best salespeople are curious, flexible, and speak to many industries, and they can do it with confidence and empathy. Rick Rubin built bridges between worlds that weren't meant to meet. The same goes for great salespeople. They can break down barriers. They can bring people together. They will create something new where nothing had been before. This is what separates good from great. Mr. Rubin is known for stripping songs down to their most essential parts. He believed that if a song doesn't work without all the bells and whistles, it probably doesn't work at all. In his sessions, it is common for layers of sound to be removed, leaving only what matters most. For us, it means keeping your presentation simple. Cut the jargon. Lead with one powerful idea, not 10. The clearer your message, the more memorable it becomes. Clients don't want to be overwhelmed, they want clarity, they want simplicity. Practice the fine art of subtraction. A good producer knows what to add and more about what to take away. He or she removes clutter, both the physical kind and the creative kind. In the end, the goal is to reveal the emotional core of the song. This focus shapes everything. In selling, more isn't always better. Subtract the fluff from your presentation, your emails and conversations. Focus on the prospect's pain point and cut the distractions. When in doubt, edit, and edit more than once. Quit trying to prove how smart you are by making it too complex. Break it down to its basis element and lead with the most simplistic version of the ask. Rick Rubin loves imperfection. He is drawn to the rough edges of a voice, the tension in a performance, or the crackle in a take that wasn't meant to be perfect. At the same time, he balances that rawness with a sense of elegance and control. For us, be ourselves. Be real. Don't try to be a slick, flawless closer. Clients respond to honesty and humanity. Show your passion. Admit what you don't know. And speak like a human. Grace doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present and sincere. Rubin rarely pushes himself into the spotlight. Instead, he highlights the best qualities of the artist. He helps them discover what they already have. That is, rather than forcing something new on them. He is a mirror, not a mold. In selling, focus on the customer. Shine the light on your prospect. Don't make your pitch about your product. Make it about the utility of the offer. Show the customer how your solution enhances their strength. Show them how it meets or exceeds their goals. Show how our offer fits into their forward vision. Rubin is a master of silence. He knows that sometimes what you don't play is just as important as what you do. Space creates contrast, drama, and tension. It allows ideas to breathe. For sellers, don't fill every moment with noise. Let your customer talk. Let your words sink in. Ask a good question and then inject a pause. Space shows confidence. Space lets emotion rise to the surface. It gives the conversation room to breathe. It relaxes the space and allows for a free-flowing dialogue. It is more of a conversation between friends than an adversarial interrogation. Rubin is famous for creating peaceful, creative, even spiritual environments for artists to do their best work. He tries to remove distractions. He knows the surroundings impact the performance. In selling, the environment matters. Whether it is your sales calls, your video presence, or your follow-up materials, your environment can set the tone. Be thoughtful about how your clients feel during the process. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said. More than anything, Rubin values authenticity. He helps artists find their voice, not copy someone else's. He doesn't chase trends. He asks, is this true to you? We can take that to heart. Don't try to sell like somebody else. Don't mirror scripts that don't fit your voice. Be yourself and be honest about what your product can and can't do. Today's buyer can smell fake from a mile away. Authenticity builds trust, and trust wins deals. Be yourself and let the true self drive the bus. Don't compete with anyone but yourself. You are only responsible for being better than you were yesterday. No more. Rubin's magic comes from his ability to listen in and dig deep, to strip away noise and amplify what is already true. That is not only a formula for hit records, but it is a roadmap for great salespeople. It is a playbook for powerful leadership and a way to build lasting relationships. Look for inspiration in your everyday life. It is all around you. Don't let the confines of the past prevent you from making bold steps into the future. Without vision, there is no sleep till Brooklyn. When you embrace the space provided, you will carve out your own niche. And then you may find that R foots the bill most definitely. My new book, Double Your Revenue, is now available on Amazon.com. If you like what you have heard here today, please consider ordering a copy, or two. You can always send one to a friend. Go to cdmediaconsulting.com right now and follow the instructions to order.